Colin Chandler helps carry Kentucky to a big-time victory over the Texas Longhorns, but at what cost?
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we are going to be recapping Kentucky basketball's 85-80 win over the Texas Longhorns. Big-time victory to push the Cats' winning streak to 4 longest winning streak in SEC play of the Pope era so far. Big time night from Colin Chandler. Also get the win streak going for Mark Pope, which is big. This team is finding an identity, but unfortunately, Kam Williams, broken foot, might be out for the season. Just another huge blow to a roster that is already starting to wear very thin. We're going to be breaking this down, the good, the bad. Going to talk a little bit about Charles Bediako as well, possibly playing for Alabama. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff has wrapped up, but FanDuel is still the best place to get into the action all playoff long for the NFL. So visit FanDuel.com to get your NFL playoff profit boosts every game day. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are watching this live on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you are tuned in, regardless if you're on audio, watching after live on YouTube. Subscribe. It would really mean a lot. Kentucky victorious on Wednesday night. 85-80 is the final score. Cats get the win over Texas, improving to 13-6, 4-2 in SEC play. 4-game win streak for Mark Pope. Mark Pope is the longest win streak in SEC play, again, during his time here in Lexington. I want to talk about the positives here first. We'll talk about Kam Williams, the news that just broke as I went live of him breaking his foot, breaking a bone in his foot, possibly out for the season. But I want to talk about Colin Chandler. At the beginning of the year, actually not even at the beginning of the year, a couple of games in, it looked like Chandler lost his shot, lost his confidence, looked awkward out there, looked inconsistent. And obviously, you're not going to get 18-7 every night from Chandler. But he had to step up in this game, play 32 minutes, and I thought he played well. Again, 18 points, 7 rebounds on 5 of 9 shooting, knocked down a couple of threes, one of them where he grabbed a board and then just decided to calmly step it out. Step back three was cash. It was the highest arcing shot I've probably seen all year from any Kentucky player. Kentucky, despite not shooting well, got to the charity stripe, executed. Chandler played well, and overall, I thought this was a very weird game, a game that Kentucky probably could have won by somewhere between 12 to 15 points. I said it in the preview episode. Depending on how Kentucky shot would dictate whether or not this was a victory, close one, or a blowout one. I said 4 to 15 points. They win this game by 5, and they shot 27% from 3. Oweh, honestly, he knocks down a couple. This game looks a lot better in terms of just final score, in terms of box score watchers here, but they didn't. And Chandler was a big reason why Kentucky was able to kind of stave off any sort of consistent Texas run in the second half. And it was honestly why they ended up winning this game at the very end. They were able to build a little bit of a lead. Texas was able to whittle it down. And then at the end, it didn't necessarily matter because, well, they kept putting Denzel Aberdeen on the foul line and good things happened. You got scoring from your 3 guards that are honestly going to have to be the big 3 moving forward. Oweh, Aberdeen, Chandler. Jasper only saw 8 minutes in this game. I thought that was a matchup thing more than anything. But you got 18, 19, and 18 from those 3 guys. They're going to have to be more efficient moving forward. Aberdeen just 4 of 10, Oweh just 8 of 20. But they're going to be the ones taking the shots. This is now getting to be a much tighter rotation than maybe we would have liked. I'm not sure how much we're going to see of Trent Noah in the future, replacing possibly Kam Williams at the 3 or the 4. I'm going to be honest with you. I would rather just have Oweh, Aberdeen, Yelovich, Marino, Jasper, Chandler, Garrison, Diabate. I would rather that just kind of be the rotation if you're going to even extend it that far. But Kentucky's in a little bit of a world of hurt here. Jalen, though, obviously out for the year. Jaden Quainton's out with knee soreness. We don't know if he's going to come back at any point. You get production where you needed it tonight, specifically from the charity stripe. Kentucky 30 of 35 from the free throw line because Texas would not stop fouling. The officiating in this game, I thought was poor. It wasn't as bad as the Tennessee game, but I thought it was. I didn't think it was that great. But Kentucky's got major problems. They have major issues on their hands, and they got a big win tonight. But unfortunately, one win a season does not make. So I don't really know what to say as far as injury luck goes. There's going to be a lot of people that are in the chat asking whether, like, why is Kentucky so injury prone? Why do we continue to see Cats going down over and over and over again? The entire time I've been doing the show, I don't know if there. Well, I say I don't know. I know there hasn't been a consistent stretch where Kentucky has been fully healthy. This is now wrapping up, or we're midway through the 5th season of Locked On Kentucky, and we have not seen the Cats at full strength consistently. I could sit here and scream and holler and whine and complain, but the reality is injuries are very hard to predict. This one was non-contact for Kam, him breaking his foot. You can't really do anything at this point other than work with what you've got. And obviously Pope knows that, the staff knows that, the players know that. So there's, I think, obviously a frustration with Kam being what was probably going to be a huge part of this rotation moving forward, just in terms of what he can do stylistically for this team, spreading the floor, knocking down shots. He had 9 points in this game in 16 minutes before he obviously was injured. But I can understand people being upset. I can understand it. But at this point, you got to work with what you got, man. This is a season from hell. This has been just an awful disaster relative to expectations. Kentucky can't keep kids healthy. They can't keep them on the floor. They've started to kind of find their identity a little bit, and I want to talk about that later. But, I mean, every time they seemingly get off the mat, something else hits them. And people in the live chat are asking this right now. We can use Hawthorne. What happened to Hawthorne? Where is Braden Hawthorne? Who would play at the 3? And there's going to be people that push back that say, Hawthorne's not ready. He's too skinny. He's too fragile. He can't handle. He can't do this. He can't do that. He can't do whatever. And while Hawthorne physically is, I think, underweight for his size, for his position at small forward. Honestly, I'd play him at shooting guard between the 2 and the 3 just because of how he likes to score. And yes, Skill Dragon, we know he's redshirting until next year. We know that. We know that. That is the argument right now as to why shouldn't they just break the red shirt, because he's not going to be here 4 years. However, to anyone that wants to say definitively in a positive or negative way that Braden Hawthorne can or can't perform is wrong. You are wrong. I am wrong. If I'm sitting here telling you, hey, give him a shot, he's going to be good for this team. I am wrong. You are wrong. Everyone is wrong because we haven't seen him play. We don't know what Braden Hawthorne is to this team in his current state until he gets out on the court. And anything beyond that, before that, I should say, is pure speculation. You have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about or what I'm talking about, but there is a great question that deserves being asked. Should he get playing time at this point? Should he be on the floor for Kentucky to add depth to this team? And there are going to be people that take that question, assume that I'm saying he should play, and not only just play, but assume that I'm saying he should play and play a lot. People love to misconstrue things and blow things out of proportion because of what they think they hear. But let's be clear. If Hawthorne played, it would be minimal. He wouldn't be playing that much. This would be more of a depth thing than anything. It wouldn't be he's a superstar that's hiding on the bench, Shaden Sharp type stuff, and he needs to play right now. That's not what I'm saying. And frankly, I don't think most people are saying that. Kentucky is down their starting point guard, their starting center, and now they're starting small forward over the last several games. He's like a broken foot. He's probably not coming back if he's truly broken his foot. They need depth, and frankly, they need scoring. We know what Hawthorne was in high school, so we can sort of sit here and project and guess, right, positively or negatively. But again, I think at the end of the day, the most important question is, can Kentucky utilize the depth? Just another body out there, right? It might be a conversation between him and Pope if he wants to or not. And honestly, I really, really hope that conversation is had soon. I hope it's happening tomorrow, that Braden Hawthorne is discussing whether or not he wants to suit up this year for the Kentucky Wildcats instead of just redshirt. Because again, I think that, again, speculation, but with how talented he was coming out of high school, my guess is that he's not either going to be here for the 4 years because he's going to go to the draft, or even like the 4 years. Like, honestly, like, do you get more value out of playing now than you would next season? Right? I don't know. I hear Big O wants to come back. He does. NCAA is probably not going to allow it, but we'll cross that. I will talk about that later on in the show. Actually, I want to continue to kind of break down this 85-80 win over the Texas Longhorns. Kam Williams, obviously a huge loss for the Wildcats. Colin Chandler popping off. Let's talk about the win streak, the momentum, finding an identity for this team. Before we do it, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. The college football playoff is wrapped up, but FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the NFL playoffs as well, because right now, every playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. You can ride the favorite when you think a team controls the matchup. You can take a shot on the underdog if you feel an upset coming. You can apply the profit boost and get even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is great for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long, so visit FanDuel.com to get your playoff profit boosts every game day. All right, continuing along here on today's episode of the show, Lance Dawe hanging out here with you again. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, I would love it if you did so. Like the video. If you're watching here live on YouTube, over 200 of you in here now, would love it if you did so. Breaking news coming out of the end of this game, Kam Williams suffers a broken foot. I'm going to be honest with you, I've not had the chance to check Twitter or to check what exactly Pope has said verbatim. I know the press conference was happening as I went live. Actually, might have been wrapping up. But reports coming out of On3, and according to Pope himself, broken foot for Kam. Non-contact injury. He had 9 points tonight, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 16 minutes of play. Congratulations, Andrea Yelovich and Colin Chandler. You are now going to be the recipient of more minutes in this entire rotation for a team that's desperately trying to find their way and find a way to get into the NCAA tournament. Diabate, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think necessarily helps this team playing 25, 27, 28 minutes a game relative to what I think their identity is now, which we'll go ahead and get into that. I think Kentucky needs to sort of lean into the identity that they've had over these last 2 games, which is, I think at its simplest, being confident in your shot, being confident in your outside shot specifically. I love what Aberdeen and Kam up until this point, and Jasper and Chandler, I love what they've brought in terms of confidence in their outside shooting over these last several games where they've had to force their way back in, where they've had to fight back, where they've had to come back from these big-time deficits. They've been spraying from 3, right? In this game, just 5 of 18, only took 6 threes in the second half, but you can still tell Kentucky confident in their shot. I think that with your shortened rotation, you need to have Oweh, Aberdeen, Chandler, Jasper, Yelovich continue to be that. Be aggressive. Be the team that asserts themselves. Be the team that goes out there and knocks down shots with confidence. And if you miss, it's okay. We'll move on to the next possession. This team, honestly, probably going to slip a little bit defensively because of the players that they're losing. They're now down to 38th in adjusted defensive efficiency on KenPom. They're 10th so far in conference play. Still have a top 30 offense. Well, actually now 31st in adjusted offensive efficiency. So this is what you have, man. Oweh is rounding into form as a scorer. Didn't have his best game tonight. This is the second game in a row against a taller team where I thought he got a little roughed up. Only took 2 free throws tonight. Also a couple of bad shots in this one that I just didn't really think were great. Aberdeen, inefficient from the floor, but was able to get to the foul line a ton. Again, this Texas team likes to rough you up. They are going to have to be the two guys that you just say, put the ball in their hands, and they are sufficient. They're good enough to score and keep you in a game, and then maybe you'll have a good night from Marino. Maybe you'll have a good night from Chandler, Jasper, Yelovich, Garrison, what have you. Honestly, this thing could have gotten a lot worse for Texas if Marino had hit his shots and Garrison had hit his shots, because Marino went 2 of 6, Garrison goes 0 of 3. So you're sitting there 2 for 9, which is just insane. If you can go 4 for 9 or 5 for 9, which is more like what their efficiencies tend to indicate, then you win this game by double digits and you're kind of cruising. I mean, at this point, against your average SEC opponent at home or on the road, I mean, your games coming up: Vandy, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, right? Like, those are all, honestly, they're still all winnable because Arkansas is so volatile. Vanderbilt has been weirdly cold so far, over the last few games, just shooting the ball, period. So, like, again, the identity now is, I think, again, at its simplest, just be confident in who you are. Forget the outside noise. Forget the fact that you're down to a much tighter rotation now, that 3 players are out, possibly for the year, at least one of them definitively. You have to find a way to stay mentally prepared day in and day out. Because we saw at the beginning of the year, when they were taking their lumps, when they were losing to teams like Michigan State, Louisville, North Carolina, that loss against Gonzaga that I had the misfortune of seeing in person, this team's mental collapsed. And something that actually Colin Chandler said, which I thought was really interesting in the Journey video that Kentucky put out after the Tennessee game, something that he said is like, we've found ourselves in these situations over the last few games where we've had to come back, we've had to rally, we've had to find a way, and it's really helped them reshape how they come into these games mentally. And during these tough moments, it's really helped them become more positive and look at things more positive and just go and try and compete one play at a time, kind of just take baby steps with it. So I think that the mental aspect of this is more important than anything for Kentucky to stay confident, positive, upright every single game, because you are going to take your lumps from here on out. Not going to lie. Arkansas and Vanderbilt, winnable, but tough. You still have to play on the road against Florida, Auburn, Texas A&M. You got Florida here at home to wrap up there. It's a tough slate to close things out, right? Really tough. But you can succeed. You can still succeed even with somebody like Kam Williams out now. Honestly, if anything, Yelovich has to really step up and assert himself. 4 points tonight, 7 boards, an assist in 18 minutes. I thought he was good. For the run that he got. I don't think Diabate is the answer. I think you have to get spacing out there, man. I think you have to. So if anything, I guess it's Chandler now that plays more small forward. And then Yelovich, I think, is going to have to step up in terms of volume. Vandy is reeling. Arkansas is inconsistent. You can get one of those games if we keep rolling. I agree, William. I agree. I absolutely agree. Just a win that I'm happy about, sullied by another injury. Just nothing that we can do. Nothing that we can do as fans. What did you miss, Captain Crash? Kam Williams has broken his foot. We kind of recapped saying that the 3 guys that scored in double figures tonight, Chandler, Oweh, and Denzel, are going to have to be the guys that are just chucking moving forward, and they have to be really confident. That's the big thing, being confident in the way you play offense. What were the plus minuses tonight? Was Aberdeen the leader? No, Aberdeen was +7. The plus minus leader was actually Malachi Marino, who finished. And get the, oh my gosh, I'm shocked that we've not gotten to this stat line yet. Listen to this. 8 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks for Malachi Marino, your freshman center. 8, 4, 6, and 5. Just filling it up. Dang, dude. And he was 2 of 6 shooting. He was 4 or 5 from the charity stripe, man. He was a monster, as Gary Allen says. He comes from your old school. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. As a self-described insider, do you think JQ could return and make up a little of the loss of Kam? If he's got knee swelling, my expectation for the average player for knee swelling is that, yeah, at some point he returns. In his specific situation, if I'm just projecting and guessing, his agent's probably telling him to stay out of this. Don't want to re-injure yourself or make it worse, knowing that you still have the chance to be a lottery pick, at the worst, a first-round draft pick. Is Marino one more year or gone? With the way he's playing, he's probably gone, which really sucks. I would do anything to get him back for another year. But yeah, I think that if he returns, it could help a little bit with the loss of Kam. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to come back. Let's see. Oh, something else I want to talk about here real quick. Just a shout out to Dalen Swain. My gosh. Him and Vocatitis. Again, I mean, that was the report coming in. Like, hey, the front court's going to be the biggest thing to stop here. Swain, 29 points on 10 of 6 shooting, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of steals in 36 minutes. He was one of 3 players with a positive plus minus. He was out there hooping. Really pure spin moves. That reverse layup was beautiful. Vocatitis didn't shoot that well in this one. He still ended up with a double-double, but man, those guys will give you problems. They are 2 very good players. Tremont Mark was chucking in this game. He finished with 12. Dude, Weaver finishing with 14 should have never happened. If we want to talk about negatives here, Colin Chandler getting caught sleeping so many different times when the ball was swung to the corner. It's just really easy cuts to the basket. Oh my gosh, dude. What was the scouting report on that, where Kentucky just let the corner do what they want? It was unbelievable. I thought it was going to be Mark Pope versus Mark Pope. It was definitely Mark Pope and Pope versus Mark Pope. Oh, Mark and Pope versus Mark Pope. My gosh. Wow, I struggled. JQ will return when he does, but until then, let's just roll. I'm hurting about the injury, but we have to keep pushing. That's exactly what I'm saying here. Like, yes, I understand it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for you. It's frustrating for the staff. It's frustrating for Kam. Thoughts and prayers to him. But at this point, you have no other option. If you're going to continue to try and keep this going, to keep the momentum rolling, to find a way to win against Ole Miss, to maybe go on the road and beat Vanderbilt, keep this win streak going, build quality victories, you have to stay mentally focused. Chandler looked gray on TV because of the flu. He's definitely under the weather. He did not look well at all. No, he didn't, but still, 18 points in a big-time moment. Aberdeen, I mean, again, sufficient, dude. He is enough. Kam's broken foot is very similar to Kirk Reese, just walking down the court and then snap. What is Swain's eligibility? Pope likes recruiting transfers. Who can cook him the year before? I think he is a junior. He is. Played 2 years at Xavier, first year here at Texas. He would be somebody interesting to possibly add, but he's not a shooter at the 4, so I don't know. Imagine Travis Perry dropping 30 on Saturday. I pray that doesn't happen, Dakota. I really, really hope that doesn't happen. I want to talk about this real quick. And I don't want to get into the details of what the courts are saying, what the NCAA say. Oh, I'll tell you what the NCAA is saying. TP ain't dropping 30. Yeah, I agree. Charles Bediako, former Alabama center, is likely going to play this Saturday against Tennessee. And I don't want to get into all the legal jargon and bull that's been thrown out there from him and his lawyer, and whether or not he deserves to play, whether or not he's like going to officially get approved, if he's going to in the meantime continue to play before he gets actually approved, what the ramifications are for the future. Like, forget all of that. Let's just keep it simple here, real quick. If Charles Bediako is allowed to play one more minute at the University of Alabama for their men's basketball program, I think the entire SEC should, like, how do I phrase this? There should be more legal action taken from this conference, from the individual programs that have to play against it, from the NCAA, who basically came out, and they showed this on the broadcast on SEC Network. They said the statement from the NCAA essentially said, we can't do anything. The fact that judges keep overruling us is insane. We need Congress to step in. This is not college athletics. Charles Bediako going to the G League for multiple seasons and then deciding, I want to come back to Alabama, and it's a detriment to my future and my development if you don't let me play, after leaving, declaring, and deciding to stay in the draft. You do not deserve to come back to college basketball. That is not college athletics. It's not college athletics. Go play overseas. Go play in Australia. Go play in Spain. Get out of here. You do not deserve to step foot back in our sport because it's not college athletics. And John Calipari, I think, said it best, and the NCAA said it again in their statement earlier today. This is harming the development of high school players. This is destroying what the sport is fundamentally by bringing high schoolers in to go get an education and to play sports. It is destroying the integrity of this sport by just letting any guy who decides that they want to go play professional basketball to come back. It is disgusting. It is a disgrace that the NCAA can't get a hold of this. It is ridiculous that judges continue to allow this. It is bull, and it should be put to a stop. And if I am any SEC head coach worth my salt, I am seeing just how quickly I can get Bediako out of the game if he is going to play against me. That's all I'll say on that. Get him out of this contest as quickly as possible, because it is ridiculous that somebody like him or Trenton Flowers or whoever BYU has gotten or whoever Louisville has gotten, it is a disgrace to this college sport that grown men in their mid-20s can come back and still play after declaring that they want to go and then proceeds to go play professional basketball. And do not sit here and tell me for 1 second that G League basketball is not professional basketball. There have been so many people on Twitter who have said, well, it's just like EuroLeague. What is EuroLeague? It's professional basketball. G League basketball is underneath the NBA, the National Basketball Association. It is a pro sport. And if you play well enough, you know what you get? You get a two-way, or you get signed to a deal to go play for an NBA team. You are playing professional basketball. There is no school. There is no class. There is no homeroom. There is no time to go and find with friends downtown. There is nothing like college in that. It is a pro. It is a job. And if you leave this sport and you go do that for multiple years for a professional basketball organization who their whole job is to play hoops and nothing else, you should not be allowed to come back at 23? At 23, much less 24, 25, some of these ridiculous cases. And I've said on Twitter, and I've continued to say it on Twitter, that if this is going to be the reality, if this is going to be what college is, just pure BS, then let's go get Oscar Tshiebwe. Who cares if he's played 23 games? Who cares if NCAA President Charlie Baker has said, we are not going to grant eligibility to anyone who has played in a professional capacity, specifically if they've played in an NBA game? Who cares? Who cares if Tshiebwe's played 23 games? Bring him back. He's got a year. He has a year of eligibility left. Bring it to court. Sue the NCAA. Make them do something. Make them do something and let a lawmaker override them, just like they've done multiple times now over the last several weeks. Oh, by the way, I forgot about James Nnaji, which apparently Bama fans and everybody are getting up in arms saying, well, why aren't you upset about James Nnaji going to bed? We are. You just aren't looking hard enough. Bring Oscar Tshiebwe back. Sue the NCAA. Bring it to court. I've got another year, and I've been playing NBA games. Why shouldn't I come back to Kentucky? If this is the way the game is going to be played, let's play the mother frickin' game. Let's go out there and get every single G-Leaguer Kentucky Wildcat that we could possibly get and throw them on this roster, because if we're going to have guys going down to ghost broken foot injuries, our guard have his shoulder tear out of his socket 3 different times, and our all-star lottery pick center have his knee start swelling again after he was trying to recover from ACL surgery. Let's go get some more guys. Forget about scholarship limits. Forget about that. We're not here to play school, Cardale Jones. We're here to play basketball. We've got the money for it. We've got the time for it. And we've got kids that got eligibility. So let's throw them in a class. Let's throw them on the court and make you do something about it. And if you can't, a lawmaker will tell you, well, too bad, so sad. This is ridiculous. Calling Ashton Hagans. I agree. Let's call Ashton Hagans. Let's call Davion Mintz. I don't care if he doesn't have a year of eligibility. Make them say no. Let's just do the most ridiculous. Let's call Devin Booker. Let's throw $100 million at Devin freaking Booker to come play shooting guard for Kentucky. And anybody in the chat's going to say, well, he's not Jay Billis. Well, he's not a position fit. I mean, he's not going to go out and pop off for 30 for Kentucky, because they don't necessarily need more shooting guards. They need, honestly, a facilitator and then somebody down low who can be more enforceful and more athletic than somebody like Malachi Marino or Brandon Garrison. Like, who cares? You aren't listening to me. Who cares? Who cares if they're a position fit, if they aren't, if they help this team, if they don't? Let's just blow this out of proportion. Let's get manic with it. Let's just go insane, right? My whole point is that this is a joke. This is a joke. A joke of our sport, of the thing that I love, of the thing that I love to cover, of the thing that you love, of the thing that we all like to talk about and watch and celebrate. It is making a mockery of what we have lived our lives enjoying and appreciating and investing in. It needs to be put to a stop immediately. Stop suiting up versus cheaters. Honestly, again, one of two things. If Charles Bediako is rolling out in the starting 5 for your Alabama Crimson Tide, and I see him on the other end of the floor, and there's nothing I can do about it, one of two things is happening. I'm not playing the game, just full stop. It's not college basketball. I'm not playing a college basketball game. Give them the win. Who cares? All right? Who cares? Give them the win. One of two things. Either doing that, or I am throwing out a bench rider, and I'm telling him, let's make sure Charles doesn't see the under 16 timeout. That's all I'm saying. Make sure that we, if we're going to cheat, we're going to play dirty. If we're going to go against the integrity of this entire thing, okay, let's get in the weeds a little bit. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's see how badly you want to come in here and play them. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous bull from the NCAA, and the fact that Congress still hasn't stepped in. The fact that we have major pundits, Calipari, Izzo, I'm sure that Wright and Bruce Pearl have said something about this on national television multiple times, how ridiculous this is. And Congress is just sitting there, which they're the only people that can do anything, by the way. We haven't heard anything yet, anything about whether or not we could shut this down or not. It is humiliating for the coaches. I would say the exact same thing if Kentucky brought back Oscar Tshiebwe and every single freaking all-star that's playing in the NBA right now. If they brought back Karl Anthony Towns, if they brought back Hagans, if they brought back Booker, if they brought back Ty Washington, Cason Wallace, everybody, if they had a roster of 35 cats, I would still say, okay, fun, whatever. This is a disgrace. This is disgusting. This makes me want to puke. The fact that this is being allowed. Someone needs to do something about this. And I'm not saying this, by the way, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying this because this is Alabama, because it's a team within our conference that's a rival. I'm not saying it because of anything to do with the Crimson Tide specifically. So any idiot Crimson Tide fan that wants to clip this and say, well, he's only doing this because he doesn't like Alabama. I hate this for Baylor. I hate this for Kentucky. I hate this for anyone that wants to try and pull this crap off. You are pathetic. You are disgrace. You are ridiculous. And I'm saying for Kentucky, let's get in the weeds then. Let's play the game. Let's all act like fools and idiots and go against everything that we've ever appreciated about this sport. Can you imagine Cat at the collegiate level right now? He would destroy, absolutely crush college basketball. All right, that one's a little bit too long of a tangent. I am very, very upset at the fact that we can't do anything about this. And maybe Bediako doesn't end up playing. Cool. There are still so many other examples of G Leaguers. BYU, I think Louisville has one if I'm not mistaken. Again, Trenton Flowers is still trying to come back, even though the NCAA has said, no, we're not letting you come back. He's still going to try and come back. I mean, Nanaji at Baylor, which, by the way, I don't even know. Who even cares if he's productive or not? Who even cares that he's only scored 4 baskets and made 2 free throws? Who cares? Actually, it's really funny. One of his comps, on Ken Palm is you got on Yenzo. That's really funny. Anyway, ridiculous. 85-80 is the final score. Cats get the big win over Texas. 4 in a row now. You've got Ole Miss on Saturday. We've got transfer portal stuff to talk about. Will Stein to talk about. Football's going well. Basketball's going well despite a loss of Kam Williams. I'm just irate over all of this bull crap. They couldn't feel good about themselves coming back and beating up a lot of your experience and younger kids when you're a man. That's a great question. If you're a 26-year-old man, Chad Baker-Mazara, and you're going out here and you're dropping 15 and 8 on these 18-year-olds who, like, this is their thing. This is no longer your thing. You're here screwing up the vibe. At the very least, you're screwing up the vibe. If not, it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic. But something that people don't seem to understand. I understand that there's a lot of kids that are going to get paid a lot of money to perform. Same for Kentucky. They're still kids. These are 17. You realize that Jaden Quaintance was 16 when he started coming to Arizona State, 17 years old. These are kids, guys. And you want to sit out here at 23, 24, 25 years old and try and milk everything you can get out of a college. A college. You're not a college student. It's the same thing with Carson Beck, by the way, playing for freaking Miami, being a graduate transfer. Question gets asked to him at the college football playoff. Hey, bud, how are your classes going? What's the big thing for you in school? He's like, I graduated 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Are you kidding me? This is a mockery of what this sport used to be. And I'm all for kids getting paid. I'm all for them being able to go to the transfer portal, but this is ridiculous. I gotta stop. Please don't get... Okay, Vince, come on. It's not that serious. I'm not throwing a hissy fit. This is just bull for my job, for my sport, for your sport. He's eligible for AARP. Preach. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I have to go, but I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. Follow me on Twitter at LanceDaw_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Goodness gracious, that took a turn at the end of that stream. Whew. It's just ridiculous.